Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, Lord.
Jesus said to the disciples, "When the Son of Man comes in his glory and all the angels with him, then he will sit on the throne of his glory. All the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate people from one another as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. And he will put the sheep at his right hand and the goats at the left. Then the king will say to those at his right hand, 'Come, you that are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you gave me clothing. I was sick, and you took care of me. I was in prison, and you visited me.' Then the righteous will answer him, 'Lord, when was it that we saw you hungry and gave you food, or thirsty and gave you something to drink? When was it that we saw you a stranger and welcomed you, or naked and gave you clothing? And when was it that we saw you sick or in prison and visited you?' The king will answer them, 'Truly I tell you, just as you did it to one of the least of these who are members of my family, you did it to me.' Then he will say to those on his left hand, 'You that are accursed, depart from me into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry, and you gave me no food. I was thirsty, and you gave me nothing to drink. I was a stranger, and you did not welcome me, naked, and you did not give me clothing, sick and in prison, and you did not visit me.' Then they also will answer, 'Lord, when was it that we saw you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or naked or sick or in prison and did not take care of you?' Then he will answer them, 'Truly I tell you, just as you did not do it to one of the least of these, you did not do it to me. And these will go away into eternal punishment, but the righteous into eternal life.'" The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord.
Please be seated. 3 weeks, 3 parables, and each one with a message that seems on the surface to be very un-Jesus-like. 2 weeks ago, we heard the story of the 10 bridesmaids waiting to escort the groom to the wedding banquet. They bring lamps in case he comes when it's dark. 5 bring extra oil, and 5 do not. This story's outcome, the 5 with no extra oil missed the party because they have gone off to buy more, and they are labeled as foolish, which seems to bring a message that's right in keeping with the way most of the world looks at life. Be careful how you use what you have, because resources are limited. If you run out, too bad. You should have been better prepared. And if you have plenty, even extra, don't share. Then last week, along comes the story of the talents, which seems to turn the first story on its head. The 3 slaves, or servants, are entrusted with some of their master's money while he's away. Each receives an amount according to his ability. But in this story, the prudent servant, the one who's very careful not to lose what he has been given, turns out to be the one who is foolish. He's missed the point of the trust. The money was meant to be used, not hidden and kept away and kept safe. Well, today we come to story number 3, which seems to tell us that Luther was wrong. It seems to tell us that it is what we do that earns us eternal life in the presence of God. Not doing the right thing means ending up in the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. Not my idea of a good time. Perhaps what this story really means, perhaps what all 3 stories really have to say, is that we need to use our resources wisely. What we have is meant to be used in caring for ourselves and others, each other. The ones who understand what it means to love and serve God use whatever they have, not only for their own benefit, but also to benefit those who are in need. They don't just give money or the things money can buy, but also time, attention, compassion, energy. All that we have and are is to be shared. One thing that struck me as I read today's parable was the sense of surprise. Now, I've always noticed that those being sent to eternal fire are surprised. They never recognized Christ in those around them in need, so they didn't realize they were missing an opportunity to serve him. But this time, I noticed that those who are going to inherit the kingdom are also surprised. This group, Jesus calls them the sheep, also failed to recognize Christ in the people they served. But they served anyway. This past weekend, many of us feasted on roast turkey, yummy yams, and pumpkin pies. We attended family gatherings, some of us with visions of Black Friday shopping frenzies dancing in our heads. But did we find a way to connect with the least of these? Did we carve out a little space in our hearts to see the presence of Jesus in those without adequate food, water, or clothing? Did we see Jesus in the stranger or the sick or the imprisoned or the grocery clerk or the checker at JCPenney's? For some of you, the answer may be easy. You may have been involved in serving a meal to those who would otherwise be alone or hungry on Thanksgiving Day. Or maybe you got up early and joined the Run to Feed the Hungry, or one of the other local turkey-themed races. Others may have participated in Small Business Saturday, doing your Christmas shopping while supporting small, locally owned businesses. Some of us, those who hibernated all weekend, may simply have watched a football game, or 2, or 3, or 7, or 8, while paging through the Good Gifts catalog, picking out items to give in honor of those on your shopping list. We have the flyer in your bulletin again today. Let's combat Black Friday with good gifts giving. Every time we reach out in any way, it's an opportunity to meet Christ by providing basic needs to those in need. Where have you seen Jesus lately? Where might you meet Jesus next week or next month? I don't know about you, but I worry sometimes about just how often I have probably missed the presence of God in each day. I find myself wondering, day after day, just where God has been present in my life. I see some of it, but I know it's there so much more if I would just open my eyes and pay attention. Because someday it will be too late for me to enjoy the blessing of attending to the hurts and needs of a broken world, to do the things that Jesus has called me to do. Participating with God in service to the world is a great privilege and an awesome responsibility. Fortunately, it's never too late to do the right thing. So, in chapter 25, Matthew brings together 3 parables of Jesus about being ready for the final accounting. All 3 of these stories are charged with expectation. A wedding is about to happen. The Master is returning after a long absence. The Son of Man comes in glory with lots of angels. One way or another, these parables let us imagine ourselves in the shoes of those who are surprised. We are the bridesmaids who are delayed by running off to the oil sellers. We are the steward whose books show no investment initiative. And we are the unwitting who discover we lacked the imagination to see need, or if we saw it, thought it didn't matter whether we did anything about it. And there is judgment on failure. To the tardy bridesmaids, the groom says, "I don't know you." To the timid servant, the master says, "Take what I gave him and let someone else manage it." To the goats who never lifted a finger to help the suffering in this world, the Son of Man says, "Depart from me." These parables build urgency. They tell us that we don't have forever to fulfill life's purpose. The bridesmaids missed out because they were not present, the steward by giving in to fear, the goats by a lack of vision. One day, our time on earth will end, and we won't get another chance to see God in those around us. The point of the three parables, taken together, is to get on with our lives right now. Put whatever resources have been entrusted to you to use. Be brave and do it right now. Remember, a wise person is prepared for things to take a long time, but can still live right now. Notice suffering, people, and respond, because the when is right now.